So it's FTX Crossbow time again. This will be the third video I've done on this car, and there's going to be a series of videos on this car. I'm going to be upgrading it, doing some different stuff with it, testing it, seeing how tough it is, and I'll tell you my thoughts so far on this car, the weaknesses, the good points. Let's have a look at it, let's see what I've done. Then we're going to take it back out to the BMX track. We're going to give it another bashing. We're going to try and backflip it if we can. So let's have a look and see what I've done. So as you can see, body, wing, all still brilliant. I can't believe actually how this body's held up. Not a single dent, tear, even a few scratches and scuffs, but the wing also holding up really well. Shocks, put a bit more tension on. I might start playing around with the fluid in these, but at the moment they're holding up really well. Change the servo. It's actually a 45 kilogram servo I got from AliExpress by iMod. All metal gears, metal casing, apparently IP67 waterproof. But it does work really well. Same motoring, still got the 16 tooth pinion in there, so up from the 13 tooth stock. We do have though the 10BL quick run 120 2-4S ESC, which I'm hoping will give this a little bit more power. So before I try 4S, before I look at changing the motor, I'm just going to see just by changing to this ESC whether it's going to give us more power or not. As you can see, definitely a lot more power in there, and even if you hold it, so much better. And power wise, let's see if that's made a difference. Definitely seems to have a bit more wheel speed. The good thing about this ESC is you can change stuff like the motor timing. You've got 9 punch levels, so hopefully it will improve the speed and power of this car, but we will see. What have I found negative so far? Well, a couple of things. The arms seem to be breaking at the hinge points. They've only got 2 tabs that go over to the hinge, and the inner hinges as well, hinge pins, are kept on by C-clips as well, which I'm not a big fan of. The arms themselves do pretty strong, it's just where they connect. Also, bearings. It's shielded bearings, not seal bearings on this car. And when I was taking it apart to repair the back arm, I did notice that the rear hubs bearings had seized already, and that was only after a couple of runs. So I've changed them to seal bearings. I think the diffs will be alright because they're kind of very well enclosed and there's not going to get much water in there. But if you're going to be running this in the wet and the rain, or you're going to be using a hose pipe to clean it, then I would recommend changing it all to seal bearings, especially on the hubs, because they're not going to last 2 minutes. They're going to seize up and you're going to end up breaking something else. So far though, everything else is really good on this. It seems to be holding up really well. It seems tough, it's good fun, it jumps nicely, it drives nicely. I think the steering and the power is the main things for me, and we're getting that solved. So let's get this to BMX track and hopefully we'll do a backflip. If not, definitely 4S next time. So since that last clip, see, I've got a 3000 kV motor in here now. It's still on 16 pinion. I've got a 120C battery in here. So let's see how fast we can actually get this, and then we'll take it to the BMX track. So let's see how fast we can push this now. Oh, it's running nice. Whoa! Nice jump at the end. Let's bring it back down. See how fast we did? Right, 40 miles an hour. We can still gear up on this awesome BMX track. Let's see if we can backflip him. That's the aim. Oh yes, we backflipped him. We did it. Land it, but we did it. All good. So yeah, well chuffed with this. We've got a backflip out of it. Another thing I forgot to mention as well is I did take the diffs apart, and they were empty. So I've put 50,000 in the front, 30,000 in the rear, and that does seem to make it handle a little bit better. I definitely was walking up now with this 3000 kV motor. 100%. Look at that go now. a lot more power. Whoa! Whoa! Yeah, definitely needs a bigger takeoff to do that backflip, but it's definitely got a lot more power. Oh, jumps so much nicer though. See if we can clear this. Oh, nice, nice. Oh, nice. Really love this RC. Whoa! Right, second battery time. First battery LVC, not broke it yet. He's done a couple of backflips and it's pretty cool. That power, put a fresh battery in it. Let's try another big jump home on the BMX track. This is where this car belongs. Let's jump off here, all the way up here, clear that and land on the grass over there. Wish me luck. Whoa! And it survives and it lives. We broke it. We actually broke it. Well, it's taken us, this car. Yeah, we broke a rear hub. We did well though. Can't say we didn't properly test that. Let's nurse it back. So we've got the Crossbow back, and you know what, overall really pleased with this car. It took a right hammering and I've really pushed this to its limits, I think. And yes, we've broke it and I'll show you what we've broke in a second, but just some of the positives out of that. The wing is still absolutely intact. I landed it on its roof quite a few times, more than what actually shows in the video, but as you see, it's still intact, no cracks, no anything. The body is still absolutely, I think some of the bigger companies need to take something off this company for bodies, because not a single crack on that body. Absolutely perfect. Really impressed with this body and how it's holding up. Even more happier, I found my dog bone. I didn't lose my dog bone. And it's still straight. Look how straight that is as well. Really good. So before we talk about what's broke, let's just talk about the positives of this car. This is the third video I've done on this car, and today really took it, I think, as extreme as you can take this car. We backflipped it, and to be fair, the video doesn't actually show, just been looking at the footage, doesn't really show how high this jumps. When I did them 2 backflips off of that really big jump, that is really high because you're high up anyway. So I'm going to be conservative and saying it's about 30 foot. It might be a bit higher than that or a bit longer than that, but it's at least 30 foot this car jumped. Yes, it landed both times on its wheels. It did flip over afterwards, but it still took it. Chassis is absolutely perfect. You know, the drivetrain is absolutely fine. The shocks held up, the shock towers held up. The standoffs held up really well. So this car really took it. And yeah, I did 2 jumps. I shouldn't have done the second one, but I did the second jump, landed uphill on the concrete, as you saw. And I've broke more than the rear hub after I've had a look at it. So we've actually broke the rear hub, which does need replacing. So you can see there, we snapped the rear hub on the bottom and the pins actually come out. So I think we broke the hinge pin holder, the piece of metal that sits at the back there. We broke that as well. But to be fair, that is it. The actual arms didn't break, which I'm surprised at, to be fair. So what are my honest thoughts about this car? Can I recommend it? Well, yes, I can recommend it. I think for somebody starting off in RC or somebody who's a bit younger, it's perfect. It's a really good value price. You can get this car in the UK from all model shops. Also in the US, it's called the FSR Sniper. So if you're in the US, you can get this car as well. I think in the US, it's actually not as much of a cheap bargain car than it is over here in the UK. Parts for this are so cheap to replace. I mean, arms, for instance, for a set of 2 arms, it's £6. You know, it's really good value. So to fix this car now is going to be less than £10 to fix this car, which is, you know, if this was a 6S car, an Armour or a Traxxas, you're talking a little bit more, especially here in the UK. So yeah, overall, really impressed with this car. I think if you're already into the hobby and you're wanting a smaller 3S 1/10 basher, it's good, but you will want to upgrade the ESC and the motor because it does lack that little bit of power, and the steering servo definitely is changing at some point. Whoever you are, it's too slow. The arms are a bit of a weak point, as I pointed out on the last video, but to be fair, today I had no issues with the arms braking, so you know, it is what it is. The shocks held up really well, no issues with those at all. So yeah, overall, I do recommend this car. I think it's an awesome little basher. It's great fun, and it's, you know, it's pretty tough. FTX gets a reputation for not being the toughest, but for me, you know, the stuff that matter, what are important, the chassis, the shock towers, the shocks, the diffs, held up really well. And one of the things I would recommend is take it apart and look at your diffs. It's not the easiest to take apart, but it's actually, once you get used to it, it's not that bad. You can get into the diffs by not taking out too many screws. You can actually get to both diffs from the top. So especially at the front, that's pretty easy. There's about 6 screws you can remove from the top, remove this centre brace, and you can actually get into the diff quite easily. Again, on the back, it's a little bit more difficult, but remove the wing and it's not too hard. If people want me to do a full breakdown on this car, how to get into the diffs, how to change the motor, how to change the ESC, how to adjust the gears, let me know in the comments below. I will do a video if enough people want me to do a video, and I'll do a full breakdown of this. But yeah, overall, fantastic car. Really happy with it. Yes, we broke it today, but I think most people are not going to do what I did with it. They're going to, you know, if you've just got like pump track or a BMX track near you, or just a bit of rough ground, and you just take it, you know, you still have fun with it, but you don't, you know, try and do the mad things that I've done with it. But this isn't where it ends. This car is now going to get overpowered. We're going to 4S it. We're going to send it to the moon. We're going to double backflip it. We're going to see how far we can take this car. So stay tuned for that. Remember those thumbs up. Remember to subscribe. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, but it does really help the channel. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching. Happy RCing.